Hi everyone, welcome to another reaction of 2091 Rivera Israel here. As you know, if you don't know 2091 Rivera Israel, he's the guy that who makes in the Loud House series, and he is still making another one. As you know, we did make the reaction of episode 15, and episode 16 is still delayed right now. Give him some time to make episode 16. It'll take a while, and you will see. You go ahead and go subscribe, and this is how his YouTube channel is called 2091 Rivera Israel. So as you know that he gave me a request, I think he did. So I hope we can see one of his videos on YouTube. So I want to react to it. So I feel like it's a good idea for me. And today's we're about to react one of his animated shows. Is called Void City. As you know, we're about to react right now, and this Void City Part 1 starts 3, 2, 1. Void City. Oh, I did. Yeah, it's. Oops, wrong button. Okay, it's still in 100%, but yep, it's still on. But I thought there would be music, but let's just wait. (1930s era). There's a lot of year of eras. 1971, 70s eras. 1980 eras. That's a lot of year. Oh, looks like we're going to 1980s era. Oh, now we can hear music. 1981, 1982, 1983, 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990, 1991, 1992. Oh, we're going to 1991. Live-in Hall of 1991. 80s era. Monathy Hall. February.
The Lord spoke to me. He said, stretch forth. Tell the people to put their hands against yours, and I will heal you. Get me $18 million by the weekend. Touch the screen. Touch the screen. You see the face on the TV screen coming at you every Sunday. See the face on the billboard. Well, that man is me. I'm the color of the magazine. There's no question why I'm smiling. You buy a piece of paradise. You buy a piece of me. I'll get you everything you wanted. I'll get you everything you need. You don't need to believe in hereafter. Just believe in me. 'Cause Jesus, he knows me, and he knows I'm right. I've been talking to Jesus all my life. Oh, yes, he knows me, and he knows I'm right. And he's been telling me everything is alright. I believe in the family. If I ever love a wife beside me, but she don't know about my girlfriend or the man I met.
This song is kind of cool.
Do you believe
But I never heard this song before. Living Hall of 1991. Official. 80s era. Dorms of August 13th, 1991. Is it 2091 Rivera Israel's office? Oh look, there he is! 2091 Rivera Israel, aka Rivera. Oh, look how he's dancing. No bad.
God, I always loved this song. It always had such a catchy tone on it. Ha ha ha.
It looks cool to me, bro. Oh, we got a phone call.
Now I wonder who that is. Howdy, this is Rivera. Who is this? Hey Rivera, how is everything, man? I'm just calling to check up on things to see how are you doing, man. Things are going well, Nate Animates. How are things going in the 90s? Things in the 80s are really kicking off, especially for us early 90s beings. Glad to hear it, Rivera. You early 90s beings are completely lucky you all get to be born in an era that was considered one of the best in history. I was born in 2000, but I am happy to be a 2000.
Yeah, me too. I'm from my year is 2002.
The 90s era didn't stop at 1999, and that was because your era the 80s took over 3 of the 90s, and because of that, the 90s took over parts of the 2000s during the 21st century. Ha ha ha. Or at least that was the rumor anyway. I don't know, I could be wrong. But I must be a half hybrid like you are. Part 90s, part 2000s due to the fact that when I was born in 2000, my home was in the last door of the 1990s era, which would be 2000. I am very lucky indeed. I'm glad to hear that, Nate. This would be great seeing as us two friends both born during 2 eras. That would be exciting. Word. Anyway, Rivera wanna head over to the 90s era. The 90s is planning on introducing the new era 2000. I am so excited to meet him. I heard the 2000 era just opened years ago. Years ago? Why wait until all this time to introduce all of you to this new era? I don't know. You know the policy of the Void, Rivera. None of us can talk to the Lord of History, except the eras themselves. So only 90s knows what is going on. Besides, the 90s likes you early 90s babies anyway, so I'm sure she will be happy to talk to you, even if you are from another era. Niece, okay, you got a deal, Nate. I will be happy to make my way to the 90s era, as after all I am half 90s as well, so it's not like I won't be allowed in there. Terrific. I'll head down to the atrium now, and let 90s know you're coming. See you then. You got it. Later, Nate Animates. Well, looks like things are going great. I can't wait to head over to the 90s era. I will tell this to the 80s right now.
Wow.
Alright, now I gotta get my papers revealing me as an early 90s baby so that way I can gain entry into the 90s era, therefore allowing the 80s to grant me permission. Got it. Now to head down toward the atrium, and talk to 80s. Hopefully there is no big event today, but as we all know it's the 80s era, there's an event almost every day.
When the 90 era.
I'm a scat man.
What a party! Pa pa pa, pa pa pa, pa 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 pa, pa 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 pa, pa 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 pa, we pa 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 pa, pa 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 pa.
It is a glorious day today. I just finished working on the latest new produce of crops that will allow us to last for the rest of the season. To make matters even better, is now the new snack that is in the outside world is about a hair's breadth away from being introduced and accepting the late 90s humans. In the meantime, the magic left behind by the Lord of History has already begun to plague the humans of 1999, so that means soon they will be a part of the new 2000s.
Thank you, Jordan. I have no doubt in my heart that the newly created humans that were put together with the help of the new era will be so much happier. In the new era. You've done plenty for the past several months, dear. You can go back and rest back in 1993. Say hello to your wife for me.
I sure will. Thanks, 90s.
You're welcome, dear. Have a good month's rest.
1990s. 1990s. What's up?
Why, hello, Nate Moon. It's so wonderful to see you. What brings you here to New Age Gardens?
Well, I spoke with the newly installed universal landline that you just installed in all of our homes, and I spoke to a friend, who I know you will love.
Oh, that's great. Who is this so-called friend of yours, and where is he from?
His name is Calvin Rivera, but he goes by the
Calvin.
name 2091riveraisreal.
Oh, that sounds great. I'm real proud of you,
So
Nate.
his
He
so his
sounds very
first name is
exciting.
Calvin and
What
his
year
last
he
name is
from?
Rivera.
I don't know any person
Cool.
named Calvin Rivera in the 1990s.
That's the thing, where I told you before that I know you would love this. He was created in August of 1991, on the 13th.
1991, as in the early 90s.
That's right.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Your friend is an 80s human. As he was born in the 80s.
Yes, 90s. That is what I am talking about. Is there a problem?
There is a problem, Nate. How could you communicate with anyone from the 80s? You know the 80s and I don't get along.
But I thought you would love this since it is early 1990s humans I am
What
talking
the heck?
about. Besides, didn't the Lord of History order all eras to communicate with one another?
Nate, I don't hate anyone who are early 90s breed. I think the poor humans are enslaved by an era they know they don't belong. They belong here with me, not with the 80s.
90s. My friend is from the 80s, and I don't think it would be fair to him that he would not be allowed in here, since he has part of you in DNA, which you created Coley with 80s.
Yeah.
Moon. We've talked about this already. My DNA in the early 90s humans is minimal compared to the 80s. I never had a chance to make them, as the 80s was too powerful. The 80s created the design of the humans of the early 90s. When I offered to take over since I was born, 80s refused it. Then one day the 80s got sick, and I chose to create the remainder of the design in her place in hopes that they would be the first humans to live with me. Only that didn't happen, and 80s DNA was too strong. So in short, I never had a chance to even have them, as much as I did, because early 90s humans are created from the 80s. I was still a young era of the time, and not populated.
But what if the early 90s humans wanted to be here? What if they wanted to meet their second creator? Would you give them a chance?
Of course, I would, Nate. Early 90s humans are always welcome in me, but next time you talk to someone on the universal line, talk to me first. I will be here to see your FR end.
Awesome. Thanks, 90s.
Sure, hun.
Wow. Well, that was all to this reaction of 2091riveraisreal of part of his video, Void City Part 1. And we'll be reacting to Void City Part 2. I think we can do it tomorrow. So, if you guys like this video, please make sure you subscribe and drop a like and comment below how you think about this reaction. And make sure you also follow me on Twitter and turn on notifications so you never miss the video. And I'll see you guys on the next video of my reaction of WWE. But before these videos end, pray to those people from Ukraine. As you know, Russia is in terror war right now. Russia is now invading Ukraine. So I pray to the Lord, protect those people. So I'll see you on the next video later everyone. Peace and goodbye.